we've seen him come on in games, and he still looks ungainly, he looks gangly, he looks like Bambi on ice at times, but the boy is scoring goals, you know, and that's, you cannot ask much more of him. He chases paper bags, he closes defenders down, he's got unbelievable pace, he puts defenders under all sorts of pressure, and look, he's been given the opportunity, and at this moment in time he's grabbed it. Now, whether he's the long-term answer, that remains to be seen. You know, we're going to have to wait and see on that one, but at this moment in time he's got the shirt, he deservedly has the shirt, because as I say, he keeps putting the ball in the back of the net, and that's what you want your centre forward to do.
Substitutes are making their way from the tunnel in the corner to the bench on the far side. Anthony Elanga is the first one to turn and applaud the away supporters, who gave them a great reception. William Osula in the starting 11. Only Bruno and Nick Voltemada in the Premier League this season have more goals for Newcastle. Bruno, the top Premier League scorer, with 9, and Voltemada on 8 Premier League goals. Osula has 7 in the league. And yeah, let's hear from Eddie Howe about their striker, who is in red hot form at the moment.
Yeah, I think it'll be an ongoing process. He's a really good age. He's got lots of stuff to continue to work on, which we will obviously do with him. And then there's a lot of areas for us that we can, untapped areas we can develop, and we can really start work on that. And yeah, I think that the ceiling in his development is really high, because he can do a little bit of everything, and he has the raw ingredients. He has the physical profile to be a real competitor, I think, at this level.
The teams are in the tunnel. Newcastle United in their blue and orange change kits today. Fulham in white and black. This is a match with two teams that have both missed out on Europe, level on points, separated by goal difference, trying to potentially finish in the top half. Newcastle will be anywhere between 14th and 9th, starting the afternoon in 11th place in the Premier League. Their faint hopes of getting into the Conference League ended when Chelsea won their game in hand in midweek. But for Eddie Howe, no European football next season doesn't have to be a negative thing.
I think you have to look at that, because there's no point being negative for too long. I think you've got to come out with a clear head, and you've got to go, right, this is the way forward. So we've done well with no European games in the Premier League when we've had that scenario. I think it makes things a little bit simpler for us and what our aims are, and then we have to go about achieving it.
They will have a schedule that is not as busy, Ando, and not as packed as last season. More midweeks, which will be free without the European slots. There has just been a change to the Newcastle United 11. And there's no Tonali, is that right? Joe Willock is in.
Yeah.
We had not been informed about that. We've just noticed it in the last few moments as the teams came out. You spotted it, actually, Joe Willock in the 11. So Tonali, who did have the hamstring issue last week in the second half, he came off early in the second half against West Ham, has been replaced by Willock in the 11. We're just checking the numbers on the backs of the shirts as the teams shake hands. We're not sure why. We've asked the question and we'll try to find out, but Willock is in.
Yeah, just spotted it. Tonali had been out for the warm-up, he'd been involved in the warm-up, but he's for some reason Tonali's not there, so I don't know what the story is. Whether he's felt it in the warm-up or not, we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see if we get any information from Newcastle United.
Yeah, just having conversations here. We're trying to get an update on what the situation is. Messages going to the Newcastle United bench to try and find out. Hopefully it's nothing serious with Tonali, but Willock is in midfield alongside captain Bruno. We'll get the full formation in a moment as the players break off into their respective halves of the pitch, and a great atmosphere here at St James's, not at St James's Park, at Craven Cottage. It's like being at St James's Park with the noise of the away supporters. So many of them in black and white stripes, virtually all of them wearing T-shirts. Some of those T-shirts are off because of the 30-degree heat. Sandro Tonali injured in the warm-up. John Ruddy is on the bench, the backup goalkeeper. And Joe Willock is into the Newcastle United starting 11. Now the handshakes between the captains, the coin toss, and some photographs in the centre circle involving mascots and a couple of other people. I've no idea who they are. They look too big to be mascots, those people in the centre circle.
Don't know.
Maybe they are family of a mascot, but there's quite a few people out there. And now Bruno and Bernd Leno stand next to referee Rob Jones. Just want to ask you finally, Ando, what you think will happen elsewhere. We're going to keep you up to date with all of the scores. It's West Ham or Spurs for the final relegation place. Who do you think will escape? I think West Ham will get out of it.
Oh, and what you seen last week?
It's Spurs though, isn't it? And you know, Everton have had a decent season. David Moyes might do his own club a favour.
The last 5 though.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know. West Ham are at home, Spurs are at home. We've seen the weather here. Weather's going to play a big part in these games. You know, Leeds have got nothing to play for. Everton have got nothing to play for. Sun's on your back. You might just fancy a nice, quiet 90 minutes or so. But look, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like a back 3.
It's a back 5, as we told you earlier on. Yeah.
Young Hall's at left wing back.
So our information earlier was correct that it's a back 5. Newcastle, as Fulham kick off, United shooting to the goal to the right. We're on the opposite side of Craven Cottage to the television camera pictures. Fulham on the attack, edge of the area. And Rodrigo Muniz now trying to get a shot off. Newcastle block it. It's Joe Willock and Bassi, the Fulham centre half, out to the near side. They get a throw. It goes out off Willock. Pope in goal. Murphy at right wing back. Chow, Botman, Byrne, and then Hall at left wing back on his natural left side. Willock and Bruno and Ramsey in the middle, and Voltemada up there supporting Osula. At the minute, it's like a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2. And that's the setup for Newcastle United, a different way of playing. And Fulham, Leno, Castagna, Diop, Bassi, Robinson, Berger, Iwobi, Bob, Smith-Rowe, Kevin and Muniz. Forward ball by Murphy. Osula can't get there. Leno at the edge of the area, back pedals, ball goes into the box. And he's got it at his feet. Chasing around, high press, high intensity. It's not necessarily the day for it.
No, it's not.
As you were just saying a moment ago, just in general.
Yeah, you've got to conserve the energy out there today.
Bassi, long, high ball. It's into the area that Muniz was in at the edge of the box. Burns' clearance has been brought under control by Bob for Fulham, and now across from the right, Malik Chow gets up to head. Jacob Murphy slices his clearance on the 18-yard line, and Kevin has it. Drops his shoulder, gets away from Murphy, low ball in. Willock now to Bruno. Osula trying to run. Bruno's pass off the outside of the right boot is in the region of the halfway line, too close to Issa Diop for Osula to run after. As soon as Osula was trying to run, Fulham
they dropped
blocking him off, weren't they? They're trying to stop that. Now Malik Chow steps up high to win the ball, and Chow brought it forwards nicely. Willock plays it to Bruno. Hall wide left. Lewis Hall in the shade on the far side.
He'd be enjoying that.
Bruno now to Willock, and Ramsey, edge of the area, plays in Murphy. Murphy's cross. Fulham get the touch, and it goes behind for a Newcastle corner on the right after 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, first attack of the afternoon. Good break. Murphy, as we know, is quality. He's got a quality delivery that's played wide to him, wide right to him. He just whips it in there near post. Fulham forced to give the first corner kick of the afternoon away.
You wanted Ramsey to hit it?
Yeah, I thought he should have done. He should have opened up front, didn't he?
Central area, edge of the box. BBC Radio Newcastle. Remember, Sunderland are on DAB and Freeview channel 711 if that's the commentary you want today. As United through Jacob Murphy roll it back to Bruno, and Bruno back out to Murphy, and it's cleared away by Fulham from the centre of the box. Hello to you if you were with us trying to listen to our red and white coverage. We've got technical problems at Sunderland that we're trying to fix. Here's Lewis Hall with a cross for Newcastle. It deflects off a Fulham player, goes out for a throw on the Newcastle right. Jacob Murphy 30 yards from goal, back to Bruno. 0-0 here, 0-0 at Sunderland. We'll get back to Nick Barnes and Danny Collins on DAB and Freeview as soon as we can, and once we sort out the technical issues there at Wearside. Here in West London, Newcastle, Ramsey back to Botman. Newcastle with a back five today, and we'll hand you back over, if you're on DAB and Freeview channel 711, to our Sunderland commentator Nick Barnes. And Newcastle United here with Lewis Hall playing the ball back to Dan Burn, who just flicks it to Joe Willock, left side of central midfield. It's 0-0, and Jacob Ramsey in the centre of the park, over to the feet of Jacob Murphy, close to the touchline, back inside to Ramsey. Murphy makes a decent run into the area. Ramsey back to Botman, the furthest outfield player away from the Fulham goal, but he was at the front of the centre circle. Now Chow back to Botman. Newcastle into their own half with possession, and inside it goes to Bruno. It's a heavy touch by Bruno. Iwobi has won it. Fulham have got a couple of options. Iwobi overhits the through ball to Bob, and it's a goal kick.
That's awful. Bruno just lacks under too much time, and then Fulham make a complete mess of it, thankfully.
Voltemada back to Botman, and a swinging crossfield ball from Sven Botman. Jacob Murphy on his thigh to Joe Willock. Murphy makes an infield run through the middle. Willock holds on to possession. Couldn't find a gap for the pass. Bruno then on to Willock. Now they've got runners in behind. Too much on the ball for Murphy. He might have been offside, but play continues. No flag, and Iwobi comes to get it off his goalkeeper. And
Tell you what, it's very open, isn't it?
Smith Rowe to Bassey.
5 minutes. Stretched at both ends.
Not aware of any goals elsewhere in the Premier League. If we hear of anything in whatever game, we will let you know, whether it's one of the key ones at the bottom, whether it's Sunderland or any of the teams trying to get into Europe. They're all goalless. Here's Muniz, wins a header, then chests it down, then is pushed to the floor by Malik Chow on this near left touchline from the Fulham perspective. They're in Newcastle's half, and left back Anthony Robinson comes forwards to take the free kick. Robinson, scorer of a penalty in last week's draw with Wolves, an equaliser, finished 1-1. Plays it inside, back to halfway, and now Berger around the centre circle to Robinson. Central position here. He's played it to Iwobi. They've lost it, Fulham. Newcastle have it back. Osula to Voltemada. Then Ramsey plays it to the left behind Hall, who keeps it in. Dan Burn takes a touch and switches plays. Found a gap and found Jacob Murphy. Willock through the centre. Lots of room, like you were saying, Ando. Willock.
Oh, it's unbelievable how stretched it is.
To Ramsey. And Voltemada. They slow it down, Newcastle. Keep possession. Still 0-0. Bruno to Willock. Through the legs of his man to Murphy. Off Robinson. Fulham win possession, and Kevin, who wants to attack, taking on Chow and Murphy, and Malik Chow across to stick it out of play. The former Newcastle striker Adam Armstrong has put Wolves 1-0 up against Burnley. If Wolves win that, Burnley will finish bottom and Wolves will be second bottom. And I think,
does it matter?
If you're Wolves or Burnley, it might. Yeah. I think that's Adam Armstrong's first goal for Wolves.
Well, since going down there. Anyway, aren't they?
Yeah. Goalless here at Craven Cottage and everywhere else. It's BBC Radio Newcastle. We'll have a phone in after the games today as well, and some post-match reaction between 6 and 7. Bassey from centre-back into Newcastle's half, out to Robinson. And Berger is in the Norway World Cup squad. A long halfway to Diop. Two giants there, aren't they? 6 foot plus. 6'4", 6'5", those two. Robinson trying to take on Willock. Murphy snaps into a challenge, won it back well, and then gets a free kick. He was tripped by Kevin. Good play by Jacob Murphy.
Poor ball by Robinson, wasn't it? Sold him really short.
Kevin taps him on the hand, acknowledging the foul. Referee's whistle has gone. Now the setup here with the back five, Newcastle, Voltemada a bit deeper, Osula the only player in the Fulham half. Now Hall steps over halfway, but they look towards Osula, but it's not a great ball. It's just gone up the right channel, and Leno's come to the side of the penalty area to get it. Brings it into the middle of his box. Now Osula goes to close down. Leno rolls it out to Berger. He plays it first time back to Bassi, and Robinson for Smith Rowe. He's found Kevin, who lets it run, and Berger to Kevin. Newcastle have been opened up. Fulham are into the area. Sven Botman blocks the cross. It comes out towards the left corner. 10th minute. Fulham staying on the attack with Robinson inside to Sander Berger, back to Diop. Every player in Newcastle blue and orange behind the ball. 0-0. Castagna, the right back, to Bob. Iwobi close to the edge of the area, right hand side. Berger takes it on, finds Iwobi. Deflected shot from Iwobi off Botman and over the top for a corner.
Yeah, it's very stretched, very open. Plenty of room and plenty of space in midfield as well, isn't it? Big gaps appearing for both sides. Makes for a good game though.
Fulham corner on the right hand side. Assistant referee Nick Greenhalgh is there. Sean Massey-Ellis, by the way, the assistant on the near side of the pitch. Referee taking a look and having a word with some players near the penalty spot. There's a bit of pushing. When is there not? Left-footed, in-swinging corner. Nick Pope, back.
It's awful.
Peddling, claims, and it's rolled out to Nick Voltemada. Brings it to the middle of midfield, turns back, gives it to Ramsey, and he goes back again with a pass to Malik Chow. And on the edge of the penalty area, Chow with possession. Ramsey up to Bruno, holding off Berger. Newcastle struggling to find a way through at the moment. The Adam Armstrong goal for Wolves was a penalty, by the way, and coincidentally, Armstrong, you may remember his debut for Newcastle was here in 2014 as a 17-year-old in a game Newcastle lost. If my memory serves me correctly, that was one of the matches that Alan Pardew was banned from the stadium for after the headbutt incident at Hull, possibly just before that. I think that might be right. Anyway, 0-0. Played back by Fulham into their own half. Hull promoted yesterday in the Championship playoff, and Bolton won the League One playoff against Stockport earlier on this afternoon. All the way back to goalkeeper Bernd Leno across the penalty area. Not much attacking play from Newcastle, but they've won the ball back in the Fulham half here, and now it's Lewis Hall, edge of the box, tried to play a 1-2, it's blocked. Joe Willock's got it on the left wing, brings it back towards halfway, and Jacob Ramsey takes control, plays a pass to Malik Chow, steps over the ball. He's got Iwobi near to him. Chow keeps going. Oh, he's overrun it, but Kevin can only clear it straight to Ramsey, and he holds off the attentions of an opponent in white, and Willock to the left-hand side. Voltemada to Hall, and Willock back into the Newcastle United half. Fulham 0, United 0. Ramsey picks up space in the centre, and his pass finds Jacob Murphy. First time cross from Murphy. Leno in the 6-yard box gathers the ball, with Osula making a late attempt to get there first.
Yeah, not the worst ball. Into the middle of the goal, in and around the 6-yard box. Good take by the goalkeeper.
And we're having some more technical issues at the Stadium of Light. What a day for that to happen. But we'll bring you the Sunderland-Chelsea commentary on DAB and Freeview as soon as we can re-establish our line here. Fulham attacking against Newcastle. Through ball from winger Kevin. Deflects twice into the hands of Nick Pope. 0-0 at Craven Cottage, 0-0 at the Stadium of Light, where we're working on a fix on our technical issues with the red and white commentary. But if anything happens there, it is a game of significance. We'll let you know, and we apologise for the interruption to the Sunderland commentary. Last thing you want if you're red and white on a day when Sunderland could get into Europe is to have to listen to Newcastle United. No other goals elsewhere in the Premier League. Halfway line, Fulham. Anthony Robinson plays it back to Calvin Bassey, and now it's Alex Iwobi, cleared by Dan Burn. First time clearance from Burn. Goes back to Leno, the goalkeeper, who started all of Fulham's Premier League matches, the ex-Arsenal man. Berger comes into the centre circle, long strides, then a ball to the right wing intercepted by Hall. He gets it back from Burn, then Fulham make a challenge, then Hall wins it back but plays it against Alex Iwobi. It's gone out on the far side, and we can head back, if you're on DAB or Freeview, to the Stadium of Light. Here on FM on BBC Radio Newcastle, Fulham in the Newcastle penalty area, but United win it, and Ramsey on a run through the middle, gets blocked off, referee says no foul, and the home side have possession once again. Up the line it goes to Bob, cuts in, right corner of the penalty area. Robinson urging him to have a go for goal are the Fulham supporters. Took a deflection on its way over the top of the angle of Nick Pope's frame of the goal.
Just nicked off Jacob Ramsey's boot, lifted it over the top, and then doesn't it?
Fulham with a set piece to be taken in the sunshine by Iwobi. Everybody's come back for Newcastle. Fulham with two on the edge of the area. And Iwobi
keeper
dinks it into the box. Pope punches. It's a huge punch that almost reaches the
ball.
Centre circle. Back in by Robinson, too strong. And that runs out of play, just goes behind for a goal kick rather than a throw.
Yeah, not too sure who he was trying to pick out.
Fulham, no win in 3. Their Wolves draw followed a 1-0 defeat here by Bournemouth, who will definitely be in Europe next season, and a 3-0 defeat at Arsenal. Only 1 win in 6 in the Premier League, so a bad run of form at a bad time in terms of their European hopes. But Newcastle,
I've seen them do that in previous seasons as well, where it's going well and then they go on a poor run towards the end of the season, whether they switch off.
Newcastle finishing with potentially a good run of form. It's 3 unbeaten, 2 wins and a draw going into this. 0-0 at the moment. Long ball forwards by Fulham after the Newcastle goal kick. Nick Pope sends it up the pitch again. It bounces between defenders, and in the 17th minute it's with Bernd Leno. Now the goalkeeper called on to make a save. Newcastle got into a great position when Ramsey could have taken a shot on at the edge of the area, played the pass, went wide instead. They got a corner kick from it. That's about it really for forward play from Eddie Howe's men. Foul given away by Botman on the halfway line, left of centre. And while it has been open, not a lot of drama or meaningful action yet here on BBC Radio Newcastle. 0-0, and everything else, as apart from Burnley 0, Wolves 1, appears to be goalless. Here's Robinson, the left back, into the box, but on the right hand side, made a run across the pitch, keeps the ball in on the line, back to Berger. Castagna joining the attack 20 yards out on the right. Fulham still on that far side with the ball, now at the feet of Iwobi. Joe Willock nips in to win the ball. He may have caught Robinson. How long did the referee give that before deciding he should stop the game and give the free kick? And Joe Willock
advantage, didn't he?
Can't believe it.
Tried to play advantage. Fulham still had the ball. Oh yeah, it's just slightly late.
Willock may have got the ball first, but then caught Robinson as he was performing that action of winning the ball. Free kick is 30 yards out, slightly to the left of centre. Newcastle get behind a line of spray which is just ahead of the edge of the box. It's in the D. Kevin is there.
Bob.
Kevin with his right, Bob with his left. Sound like a comedy double act, don't they? Kevin and Bob. There's Kevin's free kick. Crashes off the bar. Follow up headed in. Fulham take the lead on the final day. And Issa Diop, the central defender, nods down. Nobody followed him in as he went for the rebound. The free kick was close to going in. Crashed back down off the bar with Nick Pope beaten, and Newcastle's goalkeeper couldn't get up to stop Issa Diop's follow-up header landing in the back of the net. Fulham 1, Newcastle United 0.
Some free kick. I mean, he's whipped it, got it up over the wall, smacks off the crossbar. He's the first to react, isn't he? Great effort.
Bruno lets him go at the edge of the box, gives him a bit of a push actually on his way into the area, but Diop just keeps going. Now there's a drinks break with 20 minutes on the clock, and Newcastle find themselves behind. Issa Diop, not necessarily a likely goal scorer, but a popular one at Craven Cottage. And disappointment in the away end and among Newcastle's players. And now at the drinks break they are gathered together, and Eddie Howe is in the middle. And he does not look happy at all. And he's, I think, being quite clear and direct with his message to the team. Marco Silva, Fulham's manager, could be his final match in charge, talking to Kevin, the player who almost had a wonderful free kick goal to celebrate. Such a great free kick. He's having a conversation, long chat with the manager. Referee Rob Jones wiping some sweat from his brow in the centre of the field. Newcastle make their way back on, and now here come Fulham. BBC Radio Newcastle. United are 1-0 down. Remember, a win could get them up to 9th, but if they were to lose, they could finish as low as 14th. The goal here, and still Burnley 0, Wolves 1. They are the only Premier League matches with goals in them. Everything else, a quarter of the way through just about, is level at 0-0. And we're about to restart after the Fulham goal. Willock rolls it forwards to Bruno, who is tripped by Muniz. And it's a Newcastle team without Sandro Tonali, who was injured in the warm-up. It's Pope, Murphy, Chow, Botman, Byrne, Hall, Bruno, Willock, Ramsey, Voltemada and Osula. It's the starting 11. Bruno's going to take the free kick just next to the centre circle, to the right of it, inside Fulham's half. Looking for Botman, who heads it up. Byrne tries to help it into the middle, and Voltemada adjudged to have committed a foul on Smith Rowe. Free kick for the home side.
Yeah, it was too floaty, the free kick. Needed a little bit more pace on it. Just floated in there. Botman's always stretching.
Nick Voltemade is wearing long sleeves. I know that's sort of his style, but
might be feeling the cold.
What's it going to be like at the World Cup? It's going to be hot there, isn't it?
It is.
Here are Fulham. They've won it back in midfield. Smith Rowe with a deflected shot.
Didn't get it, did he?
Stopped by Nick Pope.
Scuffed it. Comfortable stop.
Sven Botman over to the left with Newcastle 1-0 down. Hall tries to hold it up. He's played it inside to Voltemade. Sula didn't run in behind. Hall up the left wing. Nice drag back flick to Voltemade, who turns really well, then tried to turn again and slipped. Fulham have won it back. Dan Burn then makes a challenge. Jacob Ramsey has it, whips it over to Malik Chow, who's in the slightly right of centre position in defence, and now Willock up the line to Murphy. It's just stayed in. Just.
God bless your eyesight, Razor.
Well, the assistant referee's right next to it. And there was no flag. I thought it was out. Now back to Pope by his left hand post. He has a touch, and it's a high ball towards Murphy. Robinson wins the header. Kevin runs after it. Chow is there. He's going to let it roll behind on 25 minutes. Goal for Manchester City in their match against
Semenyo.
Aston Villa. Antoine Semenyo in manager Pep Guardiola's final game as City boss. Robinson has played it forwards, and it's gone behind. Another Newcastle United goal kick, and Sunderland lead against Chelsea. Luke O'Nien has scored, which I'm sure will be a goal celebrated wildly on Weir side. 1-0 to Sunderland. If you want that commentary, it's on our Freeview channel 711 or BBC Radio Newcastle on DAB. Challenged by Ramsey in the middle of the park. Willock brings it forwards. Osula makes a run to the right on the edge of the area. Murphy's there as well, and it's with Jacob Murphy. Skips away from the challenge of Robinson. Now Bruno through to Willock, and the cross, they've just missed it.
Oh.
They've all missed it in the middle, but Fulham got a touch at the back post. Castagna to divert it behind. You had Osula in there. Voltemade was up. Hall was back post as well. It's going to be a corner kick. It's almost a goal.
Oh, it's a great ball in, isn't it? Takes everybody out. They work it so well down that right side. Sula just can't get there. It's just ahead of him. Hall's going to put it into an empty net, and Castagna gets a vital touch, puts it behind, corner kick.
Right-footed corner from the left, straight at Leonard, who takes it to the edge of the box, drops it at the feet of Smith Rowe, then the pass out to Iwobi, and strong, powerful running from Iwobi up the left wing, chased by Willock. 1-0 to Fulham. Back to Berger. And it's played back towards goal scorer Diop. As it stands, Sunderland are in 8th in the Conference League position, with Brentford and Chelsea dropping below them. Long way to go though on the final day. Newcastle United 13th at the moment. Oscar Bob, skill at the edge of the area, beats Dan Burn, then crosses, and a header from Muniz, saved by Pope. Ball back to Botman, goes on for the diagonal, can't find Murphy. Robinson and Kevin, back to Bassi, and now Berger. And Fulham, although Newcastle were close to an equaliser there, Ando, they've had the better of it, and they'll be happy with the control they have, I would think. Here's a ball looking for Castagna, and he's managed to find in the middle, Muniz. It's gone behind. A goal kick has been given. The ball, I thought, had gone out when Castagna had crossed it.
Flag didn't go up.
It should have been a corner. Referee has given a goal kick.
No, it didn't go out. Should have been a corner as well. Decision was right. Come off. Dan Bourne last.
Yeah, but Fulham will be happy with this, won't they? With the way they're playing.
Yeah. It's too stretched.
Header from Bassi. Murphy forwards. Header from Kevin goes backwards. Robinson takes a touch back to Leno. Osula runs to the edge of the box, stands off the goalkeeper, now goes to close him down. It's played to the right, to the feet of Diop, and Castagna on the touchline. Up it goes to Iwobi and then back, and inside from Fulham to Bassi, who shows some skill to get away from Willock. Chips it over to Castagna. Lewis Hall sprinting after it, not giving it up. And the home side have it at the feet of their goalkeeper, Leno. Lofted pass to halfway. Muniz trying to hold it up. Botman and Willock make challenges. Muniz on the floor. Play goes on. Ramsey to Voltemada. Takes it. Tries to turn. Does. Back to Ramsey and Hall 35 yards out. Byrne behind him gets the ball. Bruno drops in to receive. Brings it across midfield. And Willock, and at the edge of the area they've got Ramsey. Oh, and the pass from Ramsey might come to Murphy. Nah, he wasn't expecting it.
Yet again, why didn't he hit it?
It's a goal kick.
Edge of the box. Just put your foot through it.
It was well worked by Newcastle. Ball played along the floor, a few passes. Willock then had Ramsey. I think he was looking for Osula.
Yeah.
It was that, it had that direction of travel. The ball followed that path, but it was really
fizzed at him though, wasn't it? Too much pace on it,
and he couldn't adjust.
But yet again, that's another opportunity he has of getting a shot away.
He has 2 goals this season, Jacob Ramsey. This is his 43rd appearance. Might well have gone for goal on both occasions. Added to his tally. Fulham throw on the near side, close to halfway. Newcastle shooting to the right in the first half. Fulham with a 1-0 lead. Diop with a header after Kevin's free kick hit the crossbar. Muniz tried to whip it behind for the run of Bob, blocked by Byrne, and Bruno on his way up to the edge of the box feeds Hall, who takes a touch, delays the cross, comes back to Bruno. And it's a shot from Bruno that had no power and is straight at Leno.
Yeah, back pass, wasn't it?
He seemed in 2 minds whether to shoot or maybe lift in a delivery. Long Fulham ball forwards, bounces up into the hands of Nick Pope, who throws it out to Malik Chow. No other goals elsewhere, so Wolves 1-0 up at Burnley, Fulham winning here, Man City 1-0 up on Aston Villa, and Sunderland beating Chelsea. And Sunderland occupying a European place as it stands. Botman to Byrne, Voltemada and Bruno near to halfway, back to the big German from Bruno's pass. Voltemada across from left central midfield to right wing to Murphy. Doesn't go up the line, comes back inside. Voltemada with a little ball rolled through for Joe Willock. Saved low down by Bernd Leno. Goalkeeper's legs in the way, making the block. Lovely dink from Voltemada. And Willock with an effort saw the goalkeeper forced into action to deny him. Newcastle win it back. And Willock on the right from Murphy's pass. Inside to Bruno. They try to go quickly there, Newcastle, but Fulham get pretty much everybody behind the ball. Bruno with a forward ball to Ramsey. Voltemada's got away. Voltemada, great skill into the area. And then a challenge from Berger stops him, prevents him from getting his shot away after he showed great skill to turn a couple of times, Nick Voltemada. And now Joe Willock has gone down. The ball is out for a Fulham throw in the left fullback position. And Willock might have a problem here.
Felt his hamstring, I think.
Remember the game on the final day 2021 when he scored, and it meant that he'd scored in 7 consecutive Premier League matches. Newcastle record. Almost hit the net at Craven Cottage there. Good news is he's on his feet without the need for treatment. Fulham have a throw which Robinson will take, and we've had 34 minutes of football. Newcastle there with that shot saved, and the earlier chance where the cross from right to left was turned behind just before Lewis Hall got there. He was about to tap it in. Newcastle's big moments in the game. No change to the relegation picture, by the way, with Spurs and West Ham both 0-0 in their respective matches. Bruno to Byrne. Back to Botman. And this is Chow. Murphy drops back to halfway, receives it on the half turn. Now into Fulham territory, Jacob Murphy. Tried to whip one into the middle for Osula.
Gotta give him a chance.
Ball didn't really bend back in, and it was stopped by Leno, well wide of his posts. Ball in play at the feet of Berger, along the edge of the area to Diop, back to Leno. Voltemada goes to close down, but it's played forwards by Leno before Voltemada could get close. Osula's won it back on the right wing. Here's Bruno. Oh, Bruno overhits it, looking for Osula. And he's frustrated with himself, the captain. It's gone out for Fulham throw at left back. Decision making a couple of times hasn't quite been what they'd want it to be. Smith Rowe here, fouled by Bruno following the throw.
Kevin's gone down again. Holding the shoulder.
Yeah, the Fulham winger may need treatment. Players are going off for another drinks break on both sides. Could just be tactical. Nottingham Forest lead Bournemouth 1-0, and it's Morgan Gibbs-White. And Man United have scored at Brighton through Patrick Dorgu. That goal means Sunderland are 7th, and in the Europa League. Chelsea could take matters into their own hands by equalising at the Stadium of Light, but no further goals following the Sunderland opener. And that match is on DAB and Freeview Channel 711. Here on BBC Radio Newcastle on FM, Fulham lead 1-0. And it hasn't quite been the joyous end of season affair that we may have been hoping for, despite the river cruise arrivals of some Newcastle fans in the beautiful West London weather of 30 degrees, blue skies. Those who got off the tube at Putney Bridge, 15-minute walk through Bishop's Park with picnics and sunbathers, enjoying the summer sunshine in West London. On the way, one of the most picturesque journeys to a Premier League ground that you will have if you get off the tube and come along the river through the park or the path next to it on the banks of the Thames to Craven Cottage. We're about ready to resume. Now 38 minutes played, and Fulham with a free kick, and Kevin will be coming back on
Tell you what, he climbs well, doesn't he, Muniz?
Linked to Newcastle last summer, possibly lower down their list. Rodrigo Muniz, the Brazilian, he only has 1 goal this season, which was in August. He's got 23 without scoring, but not always the regular starter with Raul Jimenez. But although he's here, he's on the bench today for Fulham. Newcastle be good to equalise before half-time. Bruno up to Voltemade. Byrne trying to keep it in, which he does with a first-time cross. Stopped by the Fulham defence. And Castagna now to Berger. And Iwobi chasing after this. Botman comes across, does well, heads the ball down, turns it away up the line. Lewis Hall is there, keeps Newcastle in possession. Byrne, oh, that's a risky back pass by Byrne. Pope quickly off his line and clears up to halfway. Newcastle nod it down, but Fulham win it back and play it back to their goalkeeper, Leno. Fulham have been the better team and they lead 1-0.
Yeah, there's been little flashes, hasn't it? But not enough of them, to be fair.
Robinson beats Murphy to the ball, middle of Newcastle's half. Fulham shooting towards the left now with Kevin dragging the ball back. And they play it inside Smith Rowe. How has Voltemade not changed into short sleeves? He's pushing his hair back off his face.
Might be superstitious.
Maybe. He is in the shade at the moment, but still hot in the shade, as we can tell you. Robinson, edge of the area, now through for Kevin, slips, and Nick Pope's got it. Osula sprints up to halfway, but there isn't necessarily the intent or the rush to get up the pitch quickly. Bruno fouled, facing his own goal, lost the ball, but an illegal challenge on him. Newcastle get it going again. Willock. We weren't told, haven't been told what Sandro Tonali's injury is, whether it's a recurrence of what he had last week or something else, but it happened in the warm-up.
It is, wouldn't you?
And Willock was a very late replacement for him. John Ruddy brought onto the bench. Bruno Guimaraes looking for Jacob Murphy. Great ball. Murphy, not a bad first touch, comes inside, then back to half. Oh, not back to halfway. It's gone behind Willock and Chow, and
it's just sloppy.
Ended up with Chow getting his first touch on the ball, not far from Newcastle's penalty box. Jacob Ramsey to Voltemade, back to Ramsey. 42 minutes. Willock across midfield on the angle. They let it run and Fulham win it back. And Bob sprinting into the final third. Now chips it into the box. Iwobi takes it towards the line. Crosses. Castagna. Big deflection. Kevin's got it. Dinks it to the far post in Iwobi. They've tried to get there.
We need half time to come.
Couldn't. It's a goal kick.
Need half time.
Been a disappointing 45.
Yeah.
I wonder whether Eddie Howe might change it, possibly with the conditions in mind. Obviously has one fewer outfield option on the bench with the Tonali injury and another goalkeeper there, but maybe he could do that. Some players are struggling in the heat. Newcastle haven't been great. Couple of headers, Botman there, straight to Iwobi. Fulham seem to be winning every second ball. Nick Pope, edge of the box, picks it up, rolls it to Malik Chow. And Osula looking to get on the end of this, but Robinson times his header well. And Berger, left side of central midfield. Fulham look like they have more energy.
They're not being put under a great deal of pressure, though, to be fair, Razor.
Maybe that's the plan. Conserve some of it for the second half. They are 1-0 down, Newcastle. A free kick given Fulham's way. On the right, just behind the halfway line. Elsewhere, as it stands, West Ham going down, Spurs staying up. Both their matches are still 0-0. Sunderland in 7th and heading to the Europa League. Brighton in the Conference League place. Newcastle down to 13th. Sunderland finished 7th and Newcastle finished 13th, 5 points behind them. That will not be well received. Any Sunderland European football would not be welcomed by most Newcastle fans, I would think, even if it will have an impact on them next season in the league, potentially. But that would not be a good look. Still more than 45 minutes to go everywhere on the final day. And we'll have a phone in after the match finishes here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Arsenal, through Gabriel Jesus, the champions, are 1-0 up at Crystal Palace. Fulham, Iwobi corner, left side, dinks it. Not a lot of power.
No,
plenty of
corners
height.
have been poor.
They've got another chance to whip one in from the right this time. Botman with a good header. Willock lifted up to the left wing. Voltemade nearby. Robinson heads it forwards. Willock makes a challenge. Tottenham Hotspur are in front. Spurs 1-0 up against
Palhinha.
Against Everton. João Palhinha in the 43rd minute. If Spurs win, there's nothing West Ham can do. Even a point for Spurs because of goal difference would be enough. And West Ham United, as things stand, heading to the Championship, 5 points adrift. But it could all change after half-time. Fulham lead 1-0 here. Newcastle United
5 minutes added on.
Got to play another 5 additional minutes. Referee not
2-0 Man U.
Giving the players an early rest. They have had a couple of drinks breaks. Playing the 5 minutes. There's been some stoppages in this match, so it is warranted. Manchester United now 2-0 up at Brighton, which is good news for Sunderland, with Brighton slipping down the table and conceding another goal. Here's Lewis Hall. Comes into the centre. Botman now to Chow. Murphy backpedaling onto the white of the touchline. Chow up to Willock. Takes a touch, looks for Murphy, who beats Kevin to it. Newcastle opportunity to equalise before half-time maybe. Murphy leaves it for Willock. Back to Chow. They can't go anywhere. Fulham have got everybody behind the ball and there's just no
too slow
way through. Burn to Ramsey, looking for Voltemade. Gets turned. Diop missed the ball. Now he's out of position. And Voltemade's pass through into the box is a disappointing one. Osula was in the middle. The ball was to his left, and Leno's got it. Brian and Burmo with Man United second at Brighton. Colin White is at the Stadium of Light. He'll present the post-match phone in. He'll also be along shortly with the half-time scores, the permutations, and our contact details for the afternoon. We'd love you to join us on our phone in, whatever the score. At the end of the game, Fulham make a mess of it, but they get away with it. Near to the centre circle, 2 players went for the ball, they both missed it. Voltemade behind them, couldn't help it forwards to Osula. Newcastle back to Pope. We've played 2 minutes of the minimum 5. Chow on the right, back inside to the goalkeeper. The good news is, I suppose, but I mean, this probably helps Fulham as well, that more and more of the pitch will be in shade in the second half. It's out for a Newcastle throw next to the bench on the far side. Dan Burn goes to get the spare ball to start the match. Restart the match. It's up the line. Osula trying to run after it, has a touch, and he's managed to keep it in. He's near the corner, but it has actually gone out following his first touch. It's a throw rather than a goal kick, though.
gone very flat. Even the atmosphere, there's no atmosphere, is there? Very quiet inside.
VAR check for an Everton penalty at Spurs, but no penalty. That would have been a nervy moment. Tottenham Hotspur staying up as it stands. Back to the Newcastle goalkeeper from Malik Chow. Pope's clearance charged down by Kevin, and Fulham, who've been quicker and sharper all afternoon, win the ball back in midfield, looking like they want it more, frankly. And then Iwobi with an effort on the angle from 20 yards over the top, right-footed.
Well over.
Got just over a minute of the 5 additional minutes to play. And Pope places the ball down. Long goal kick. Newcastle push up to halfway. It's over to the left. It's gone straight out. It crossed halfway, but it went out, sailed out of play. And they are very likely to go in at half-time trailing 1-0. Unless something happens quickly at either end. Chow to Bruno. Maybe one last chance. But he's behind halfway. He's found Ramsey. That's a bit better. Now on to Voltemada. Murphy could get it and does. Osula in the middle. Murphy with a touch. Delays crossing. Gives it to Voltemada. 15 seconds left of the 5 minutes. Voltemada and Chow combine. 30 yards out. Now Bruno thought about a through ball and then nearly loses it to Smith Rowe. Referee's going to blow for half time here. Newcastle couldn't find the opportunity to put the ball in the box or play a key pass into the area, and a first half that has not been particularly good, quite frankly, is fortunately over. And having lost Sandro Tonali to an injury in the warm-up, they brought Joe Willock into the team, into the starting 11. He had their best chance, a shot saved low by the legs and feet of Leno from the angle right side of the box. Lewis Hall almost had a tap in at the back post, but it was just turned behind for a corner by Castagna, with Hall ready to guide it in. Fulham's goal came when Kevin's curling right-footed free kick hit the crossbar, came down, and Issa Diop unmarked and run in to nod it in on the rebound. Not great, John Anderson.
No, look, it's not easy out there, to be fair. You know, the heat's got a lot to play, got to do with it, but we need to up it a little bit. We've been too slow on what we've done. I'm not too sure the 5 at the back's working either, Razor, to be quite honest.
Yeah, well, Eddie Howe may make changes at half-time, might switch the system. Got some big players on the bench, including Anthony Gordon, who we might see for what is likely to be a final Newcastle United appearance. But as it stands, they're 13th in the table. Final day not going particularly well for Newcastle United, who trail Fulham at Craven Cottage at half-time by 1-0.
Bailey at breakfast. We launched the big weekend bank holiday in style.
We are on the top of an open top Go North East bus on our way to Sunderland's big weekend.
Big thanks to everyone who beeped and waved and everything else as we toured the streets of Sunderland this morning in our open top bus. Whatever you're doing this weekend, have a fantastic time. I shall see you Tuesday when I have a smart speaker to give away. I'll see you then.
Matt Bailey at breakfast. Weekdays from 6. Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle.
Well, at half-time at the Stadium of Light, what needs to happen is happening. Sunderland, as it stands, are 7th in the Premier League and qualifying for the Europa League. Newcastle United are going, unless things undo well, I suppose, change in the second half, as it stands, to finish 13th in the Premier League table. It is Sunderland 1, Chelsea 0. That goal, a lovely volley from Trey Hume, after 25 minutes. That's what separates the two sides here. And Newcastle 1-0 down at Fulham. Issa Diop following in that Kevin free kick that hit the crossbar after 20 minutes. So Fulham 1, Newcastle 0, Sunderland 1, Chelsea 0. We'll go back to our two commentary teams for full coverage of the second half in about 10 minutes time. The reason, well, one of three reasons that Sunderland are in the Europa League as it stands. Not only are they winning here, Brighton are losing 2-0 at home to Manchester United. Patrick Dorgu and Brian Mbeumo with goals in the last 15 minutes or so of that second half. So Brighton 0, Manchester United 2, and Brentford are not winning at Liverpool. It is 0-0 at Anfield at half-time. Only one of those things has to happen, remember, as well as Sunderland winning here, for them to qualify for Europe. Elsewhere, right down the bottom of the table, Spurs are safe as it stands. They only need a point at home to Everton to send West Ham down, and they are leading as well, Spurs, at the break. Joao Palhinha just before half-time. Spurs 1, Everton 0. It's West Ham 0, Leeds 0. So West Ham have to win and Spurs have to throw that lead away in order for them to survive West Ham. So Spurs 1, Everton 0, West Ham 0, Leeds 0. And the games that matter a little bit less, Manchester City's last game under the tutelage of Pep Guardiola is half-time 1-0 up on Aston Villa. Antoine Semenyo from Sunderland player, of course, with that goal. Arsenal, the champions, are 1-0 up away at Crystal Palace. Gabriel Jesus just 3 minutes before half-time. Wolves, as it stands, are not going to finish bottom of the table. It's the battle between the two already relegated teams. Adam Armstrong, formerly of Newcastle, with a penalty after 5 minutes for Wolves, so they lead 1-0 at Burnley. The only prize is not finishing bottom in that game. And elsewhere, in the one remaining game that I haven't mentioned yet, Nottingham Forest lead Bournemouth by 1-0. Morgan Gibbs-White 10 minutes before half-time. There was one other football match in England essentially today. Bolton Wanderers in the sunshine at Wembley beat Stockport County 4-1 in the League One playoff final. So Bolton are back in the Championship, 4-1 winners over Stockport County, and we'll look back on yesterday's Championship playoff final at Wembley in just a minute or two. Heartbreak for Middlesbrough after an extraordinary couple of weeks. But first, we go to Chesterley Street. Let's turn our attention to cricket. Durham's men at home to Leicestershire in the T20 Blast. We are between innings. Martin Emerson, I think Durham will be fairly satisfied halfway through, won't they?
I would be mildly surprised if they don't win this one out of Canada. They've restricted Leicestershire to 148 for 8 at a run rate of 7.5. That's a very average score, I would say below par here by a good 40 runs or so. I don't think that Durham are going to be dragged into a scrap, because I just think they're going to have so much confidence now, having restricted them to 148 for 8, that this could be a procession. If I'm wrong, then I'll stand up and admit I'm wrong, but good bowling from Matty Potts. It took 3 for 28, Callum Parkinson 2 for 31 as well, and at the other wickets there was a couple for Aldridge and for Ben Rain. So the top score in that innings was only Sol Bodinger, the opener, with 40. Nick Kelly, the Aussie, got 29, and then Ashton Turner, the former Durham man, made 28, but they never really got any massive partnerships going, Leicestershire, and they seem to be behind par all the way through that innings. The power play, they only had 36 for 1, and if you've only got 36 for 1 on the board after the first 6 overs on what looks like a fairly decent track, not a sticky wicket at all, then you're going to struggle. So we'll see how Durham get on here. They've faced one ball so far and they're yet to get off the mark.
Martin, thank you very much indeed. A reminder, the women earlier as well, this was a double header in Chesterley Street, the first of the summer, and the women were victorious over Hampshire in their T20 Blast by 32 runs. They made 178 for 5 in their innings, and then Hampshire all out for 146. Holly Armitage, the captain, Durham's top scorer, with 64. Right then, I promised we'd look back at yesterday's Championship playoff final. Middlesbrough ending the most dramatic fortnight imaginable with a really cruel injury time defeat at Wembley in the playoff final. Ollie McBurney scoring in the 95th minute to earn Hull City promotion to the Premier League after 9 seasons away. But in the wake of Spygate and everything that has happened in the last couple of weeks, and EFL disciplinary committee decisions and appeals and all sorts, Borough obviously had a very disrupted preparation off the field as well as on it, and now have nothing to show for their entire season. They will start again in the Championship come August. After yesterday's game at Wembley, Rob Law from BBC Radio Tees spoke to the Borough manager, Kim Hellberg.
In general, the performance is quite good. You know that those type of games will be very tight. I think we defend in a brilliant way. We not good enough creating big chances from our chances, and I think we have a lot of those moments where we driving the game forward, but don't use those chances good enough to create those big chances. We have some, but could get more. We defend in a brilliant way. We stopped them from, I think, creating almost anything except the header they have McBurney in the first half. It feels like we're going into extra time where we drive in the game to try to find a goal, and they score from across, and that is football. It's a game of small margins when you come up to find like this, and yeah.
Saul Bryn looked distraught afterwards. Have you spoke to him after, and how do you pick him up?
No, he's tried to pick everyone up just on the pitch as much as possible. Talk to them in the locker room. There is a time to be devastated and disappointed now for everyone. That is emotions. It's been a roller coaster for everyone in the football club. It's been back and down. It's a lot of emotions that's been back and forth. And today you have to look at the game and say in many aspects we did a lot of good things, but over 90 minutes they scored one, we none, and then you just have to congratulate Hull for the win and the promotion.
Incredible support. What would be your message to the fans?
They're absolutely amazing too. It's a lot of proud over the Middlesbrough as a football club, and how many people that had through those 2 weeks worked in a brilliant way, how they have handled the situation with respect and all those things. I think they have been brilliant. How they handle this situation, sell all those tickets in 2 days. I think it's an applaud to all that works with those things, but also the supporters is absolutely amazing. And of course it hurts a lot to not give them that celebration that I think they deserve. And that opportunity to play in the Premier League again. But we have to just use it as fuel when we come back and try to get better, because the overall feeling is that we've been up there and we've been fighting and we've been very good in many aspects of the game. But if we come to the result on the table, we miss out on a small margin, both in the league and the playoff, and you just need to work harder and haven't been good enough.
A remarkable build-up and a scandal that rocked the sporting world, really. I mean, it every corner of the world, it felt like it was touched upon us in some way, shape or form. What toll did that take on the build-up, on you personally, on the team?
No, it was the toughest 2 weeks I've been through in with emotions and back and forth and handle those things. And from the game and the extra time and how that game ended, from the first game with when we come to the stadium, the sports were amazing, and how we handled that first half and didn't score, and it's been a back and forth with so many emotions, seeing players and the staff and the supporters sad, and after that, and then back and forth. So it's been tough. It's been draining emotionally, but there's no excuse. Hull were scored a goal today, and again you have to congratulate them, and we were ready to play the game.
Yeah, he's not wrong when it's been emotionally draining for everybody involved at Middlesbrough and at Southampton, and to a lesser extent Hull City as well, but it's Hull who will be playing in the Premier League next season. Elsewhere today, away from the football, huge congratulations to Novo's men's rugby. We mentioned them on Total Sport on Friday night because yesterday they were playing in a National Cup final at Twickenham for the first time in their 126-year history. The amateur side in glorious sunshine at Twickenham, it has to be said, and they beat Cheshunt by 31 points to 24 to lift the county's one championship trophy. So a huge well done to them. In rugby league, in the championship on Friday night, Newcastle Thunder's remarkable start to the season continues. It's now 10 wins out of 13 because they beat Goole Vikings by 62 points to 10 at Blade, and Harvey Reynolds with 4 tries, including a 7-minute hat-trick early-ish on in the second half. So Newcastle Thunder remaining second. They played a couple more than some of the teams around them, but still a brilliant start to the season, and they were big victors on Friday night. The French Open tennis starts today. 2 Brits in first round action. Fran Jones, who looked in a fair bit of trouble, having lost the first set 6-1 in the women's singles against Beatriz Haddad-Maia of Brazil, won the second on a tie-break and has taken it to a decider. It's 2-all in that decider, and Emma Raducanu is underway as well against Solana Sierra, but is 4 games to love down in the opening set. Those the only 2 British players in action on day one of the French Open tennis. And in Formula 1, it's Britain's George Russell who's on pole position for this evening's Canadian Grand Prix. It's a 9 o'clock start and it's live on BBC Radio 5 Live. We are not far away though from the second half of our respective commentary matches. In particular, Chelsea are out on the pitch already at the Stadium of Light. They are a goal down. Sunderland are in the Europa League as it stands. What does the second half hold? If you want to listen to that one with Nick Barnes and Danny Collins, it's on DAB Digital Radio and Freeview Channel 711. Newcastle need to turn it round to avoid defeat on the final day of the season. They're 1-0 down at Fulham. Matthew Raisbeck and John Anderson's commentary from Craven Cottage is on our FM frequencies. The second half are about to get underway.
Half-time highlights.
Total Sport Northeast.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
There's Kevin's free kick. Crashes off the bar. Follow-up headed in. Fulham take the lead on the final day. And Issa Diop, the central defender, nods down. Nobody followed him in as he went for the rebound. The free kick was close to going in. Crashed back down off the bar with Nick Pope beaten, and Newcastle's goalkeeper couldn't get up.
Total Sport Northeast.
Matthew Raisbeck and black and white legend John Anderson.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
So Fulham lead 1-0 after 45 minutes in West London. Newcastle emerge for the second half. We'll let you know shortly if there are any changes. And it appears that Harvey Barnes is coming on, so there is going to be at least one. I think Jacob Murphy hasn't reappeared for the second half. Maybe they're just going to change the system. Could put Chow at right back, play with a 4. I think that would be seen as a positive switch in many senses. Barnes, who scored here last season when Newcastle were beaten 3-1. Is here back in September 2024, that game. Getting on for 2 years ago. First half wasn't anything to get particularly excited about. System didn't really help them.
Losing like they're going to a back forward, isn't it?
Yeah, losing Tonali in the warm-up as well would not have been an ideal thing. The way they line up now, ahead of kicking off for the second half: Pope in goal, Chow, Botman, Byrne and Hall from right to left as a back 4. Ramsey's going to kick off. And you've got Bruno in the middle of midfield.
He's going to try and test it, isn't he? 4-3-3.
Yeah, Ramsey, Willock, Voltemada, Barnes and Osula. And like we did in the first half, we will update you on any goals elsewhere and tell you what they mean for the Premier League on the final day. With Spurs currently staying up and Sunderland heading to Europe, but not just Europe, the Europa League. Newcastle in the blue and orange away kit, shooting towards the left as we look, against Fulham all in white with black trim. Pope in yellow and Leno in bright red at the other end. 1-0 down. They've kept the ball since starting the second half. Hall to Botman. And this is Willock. Voltemada. It's overhit, but Bruno is there in the centre circle. Turns now, comes forwards. Ramsey flicks it on. Fulham away through Diop. Muniz goes down.
Too easy.
And through to Pope. No foul.
No.
Willock with possession, and they go back. Newcastle diagonal ball looking for Barnes. Castagna beats him to it. His Leicester colleague up to Osula. Couldn't get there to hold it. Muniz with a flick. Gives it back to Iwobi. Now Berger. Nice move from Fulham. Kevin, he flicks it on. Robinson from the goal line hangs up across to the back post. Lewis Hall had Bob on his shoulder, so Hall chests it down and behind for a corner kick. Less than a minute and a half played in the second half, and Fulham with a nice move. Meanwhile, it's Man City 1, Aston Villa 1. Ollie Watkins has got the equaliser.
Taking the time over this corner kick. Set piece, the delivery of the set pieces has been poor by both sides, to be fair. Goalkeepers come and got most of them.
Iwobi outswinger and met by a Fulham header.
Chance.
Muniz connected with the ball. He has stayed down, may have landed awkwardly. Lying on his back. Referee has gone across to check on the Brazilian.
Came off his shoulder.
He beat Sven Botman to the ball. But even with his shoulder rather than his head, couldn't guide it to goal. Here's Byrne up to Ramsey, took it so well under pressure, facing his own goal, and then was pulled back by Iwobi. Free kick awarded. And Newcastle United losing 1-0 here. And we're going to get news of another goal from the Stadium of Light, and not great news from the black and white point of view. I think Sunderland have just scored again. We'll confirm that in a second. Voltemada being pulled all over, but keeps hold of the ball. Back to Botman, and now Byrne at the front of the D. Ramsey on the half turn again, facing his own goal.
Does that so well.
Very comfortable receiving it there. Willock up to Osula. Fulham with plenty back. Osula beats his man, bursts into the area, and then the cross looking for either Ramsey or Barnes is cleared, and then headed out to the far touchline. Kept in by Chow, who's got it to Willock. Willock's cross! Leno at full stretch couldn't get there, and nobody in the middle able to get a touch either. Barnes has kept the attack alive. Back to Ramsey, now Hall, who controls, lifts it in, headed clear. Ramsey to Hall. Still on this left-hand side. Here's Bruno through for Hall, put behind by Smith Rowe.
Better.
Newcastle corner on the left.
Better.
49 minutes played. Still trailing 1-0. We assume Sunderland did score again, but still confirming that it's an own goal from Malo Gusto. So Sunderland lead Chelsea 2-0. Newcastle pushing for an equaliser. Hall back to Bruno. Oh, that's too deep from Bruno. Far too deep from the left-hand side from a short corner. Goal kick. 27,442 here today. Craven Cottage, 2,701 away supporters. Arsenal lead 2-0 at Crystal Palace. Noni Madueke with the second goal. Fulham play it short from the goalkeeper to Iwobi at the edge of the box. He moves it out to the left to Bassi, who's running up the line and got a throw off Jacob Ramsey.
Good pressing, good chase of Ramsey.
Newcastle get it back. It's played forwards, and Castagna up to halfway. Brighton 0, Manchester United 3. Bruno Fernandes. So Brighton, they could be dropping out of European places for a pretty shocking afternoon on the south coast for them. Fulham with the ball, left wing. There is some activity on Newcastle's bench as the cross is floated in. Hall heads it up. Now a chance for Botman to nod it clear, which he does. Willock lets it run, gets a throw off Robinson. We're now in the 51st minute. Malik Chow onto Bruno, and Willock back to Botman. They've switched to a back four. Chow and Hall are the full-backs. West Ham still going down as it stands, with Spurs winning. Newcastle forwards looking for Osula, headed away. Willock's got it. Barnes in a central position, takes it and heads for goal. Plays it to Hall, deflected cross from Hall into the hands of Leno. and Berger. And Iwobi just under the boot. Might have just clipped the studs of Willock. Fulham keep possession from a pass out to the far side. And up that left side, Fulham attack. But an overhit ball for Smith Rowe, who was trying to get on the end of it but had no chance. Goal kick.
Yeah, poor ball, wasn't it?
Hall from Burns' pass, they play it out short, he drags it back, goes on the outside of Castagna. That's good from Lewis Hall, and he's now over halfway, decides to come back. It's a ball played to Ramsey, who turns, has to shrug off the attentions of Iwobi. Did the first bit well, but Robinson intercepted the pass towards Willock. Newcastle without possession again. Smith Rowe back to Bassey.
It's got the feel of an end of season game, isn't it?
Well, we want
the second half.
We want the season to end. I think we wanted
to end a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, this match to end. It's not been particularly great to witness. Anthony Gordon gets off the bench, goes up the touchline. Anthony Elanga and Sean Neve and Johan Wissa join him. Muniz has turned his man, but it's a foul on his man, who was Dan Burn.
Whoa.
Referee's whistle has gone.
Not sure about that. Oh, no. No.
I think he should have been allowed to play on, and then he would have had the chance to run through at goal.
Yeah, that wasn't a foul.
This is Botman to the touchline. Chow tries to turn, and he's turned himself
inside out,
and gone out of play with it. Just behind halfway on the Fulham left, far side of the pitch, here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Commentary from the Stadium of Light, remember, on DAB and Freeview Channel 711. Equaliser for Bournemouth at the City Ground. Forest 1, Bournemouth 1. Marcus Tavernier. Leno with the ball at his feet. No pressure from Newcastle. Back to Leno. And he's walking to the 18-yard line with it. United stand off, although Botman had pushed right up there with Smith Rowe. He was on the edge of the area. Fulham, meanwhile, into the Newcastle box, looking for Muniz, who couldn't bring it down. And then as the ball is floated into the box, Muniz couldn't get there first time. He hooked it back across the face of goal, but it had gone out already. Newcastle goal kick. Another goal at the Stadium of Light, but Chelsea have one back. Cole Palmer. 2-1 to Sunderland. Here, Newcastle up to Osula from Hall's pass. He's trying to hold off Bassey. He's got the ball in the left corner. A couple of step overs. Now he skips inside. He's beaten his man, who's pulled him down with a belated attempt to thwart the Newcastle attack. Free kick.
Why he did that, I do not know, Bassey. He had plenty of cover.
The free kick is very close to the side of the penalty area. Bruno with a set piece. Burnley have equalised against Wolves. 1-1 there. And that sends Wolves back to the bottom. Burnley overtake them again. Newcastle United in the 56th minute would love an equaliser. Fulham have brought everybody back. Not quite 18 yards from the goal line. Close to the side of the box on the left. Bruno and Hall are there. Hall runs over the ball. Bruno curls it in. And Leno makes a very comfortable catch. And Fulham are sprinting up the pitch and scampering forwards after the pass from Iwobi is Robinson, but he can't get there. And Newcastle clear. There are some gaps at the back. Even in the intense heat, Fulham have shown a lot of desire, haven't they? And the work rate's been really high. Jacob Ramsey inside to Bruno Guimaraes. Here's Hall. Finds Barnes in the middle. Uses the ball pretty well there, Barnes, to begin with. Chips it out to the right wing. Willock down on his chest. Getting closer to the corner. Willock, deflection on the cross, and it is a corner kick on Newcastle's far right-hand side.
Dropping deep, Fulham. Starting to defend deep. It's still warm out there. Sun's still belting down.
Do you sense an equaliser?
You wouldn't bet against it.
Hall with the corner, left-footed, in swinger. It's flat to the near post. Robinson away. Hall gets a touch on the ball to bring it down. Fulham make a challenge. There's a potential head injury. Plays continued. Hall into the box. Now it's cleared. Fulham have still got a player down. Whistle's got to go, surely. Kevin.
Again.
I'm not sure why, given the way that he challenged, because it was an aerial challenge. The match wasn't stopped immediately, but
he just landed on his back. I don't think it's a head injury. He just seemed to jump and land awkwardly.
Newcastle are 1-0 down, and we've almost played an hour here on BBC Radio Newcastle. The scores elsewhere. Liverpool have just taken the lead against Brentford through Curtis Jones. So it's 1-0 to Liverpool. Brighton 0, Man United 3, Burnley 1, Wolves 1, Palace 0, Arsenal 2. There's a drinks break here at Craven Cottage as Kevin receives treatment. Man City 1, Aston Villa 1, Forest 1, Bournemouth 1, Sunderland 2, Chelsea 1. Sunderland in a European place in 7th, which is Europa League, unless things turn around. But Brentford losing and Brighton being well beaten increased Sunderland's chances of getting into Europe. And at the bottom of the table, Spurs lead Everton 1-0. They are staying up as it stands. West Ham against Leeds is goalless. It's the only match without a goal. All of the games, remember, kicked off at 4 o'clock at the same time.
Fulham changes coming as well. Tom Kearney stripped and ready for action.
Kearney is coming on for Kevin.
Coming on, number 22, Kevin.
Seems like a shoulder injury, as you say. He could have put his team in front. It would have been a spectacular goal from the free kick, which hit the bar, but the rebound was nodded in by Diop. And Tom Kearney, proper Fulham legend, long-serving midfielder, not a regular starter, but still playing a part. At 35 years of age, he comes on. No further Newcastle changes yet beyond the one at half-time, which was Barnes for Murphy and a change of system. Remember, they lost Tonali to injury in the warm-up. Willock was brought into the 11 in his place. They've restarted the match. They had the ball on the right, now they've got it on the left. Ramsey with a nice turn. His pass is blocked, but he's got it back.
Bob's been poor. He passed it straight to Bob, and it's an awful touch.
There's Chow on the diagonal.
You've got to know your players, son.
Asked too much of Dan Burn. And a throw at right back position for the home team, who finished 11th last season, Fulham, and that's where they are right now in the live league table. This is their 4th season back in the Premier League following a promotion. They've been up and down for a few years. This is a solid run of Premier League football for them. Far side of the pitch, they've got possession.
They've swapped it again. Has Hall got the right back?
Yeah, they have. They've just changed it just before that, following the drinks break. Burns at left back, Hall is at right back. Chow back in the centre with Botman. Castagna on the edge of the box to Kearney. It's on his left. Oh, he's had a try and there's a deflection. Oh, goal kick's been given. Goal kick, the decision. Maybe the touch was off a Newcastle player. It looked like it. There was a nick on the ball to send it wide. Fulham appeal. Newcastle get play going again. Oh. Maybe it didn't take a touch after all. Just seen it back. Kearney has now given away a free kick. At the minute, only Johan Wissa warming up for Newcastle United in the 63rd minute. Surely there will be further changes. We are told Chelsea have had a player sent off at Sunderland, so that might make the comeback a bit harder. 2-1 Sunderland lead, and they're heading for Europe. Commentary is on DAB and Freeview Channel 711. I know we say it a lot, but we always get asked where the commentaries are when both teams play at the same time. That's where you'll find Sunderland. Long ball for Lewis Hall up from right back, too much on it. Goal kick for Fulham. Wesley Fofana, the Chelsea player, sent off. Aston Villa are 2-1 up at Manchester City. Ollie Watkins has scored again. I was hoping, Ando, today to avoid using the phrase typical end of season match. I know the weather has been playing a part to some extent, probably in games across the country, but Newcastle United, this is a typical end of season performance.
Yeah, I said earlier,
for a team with nothing to play for.
I said earlier, it's got the feel of a typical end of season game. It's just flat, even inside the stadium it's just totally flat.
Now what's just happened there is Bruno was in a challenge with Tom Kearney. Bruno was on the floor, wanted a free kick, but he touched the ball with his hand, and Fulham got the free kick, and Bruno has just been shown a yellow card. Eddie Howe has gone to speak to Johan Wissa, who is now taking off his luminous yellow bib. There's the number 9 shirt. And there will be at least one further change. Anthony Alanga's ready as well. Robinson for Fulham back into his own half. Bassi to Diop. There's a player down, and it's Bruno, isn't it?
Guimaraes, yeah.
He's untying his boots. I don't know if he's going to do them up again. The physio's come on. This will be a drinks break and maybe a tactical team chat, as well as substitutions. And Brentford have equalised at Liverpool. Kevin Schade, Liverpool in front for just 6 minutes. Brentford back in business when it comes to European football. Now if Chelsea could just with 10 men get an equaliser, that would turn things around, wouldn't it? Mind you, Sunderland are where they are on merit, and there's no point trying to deny it. Anyway, changes. William Osula will not get into double figures this season. 9 goals, 5 in 6 before today. His afternoon is over. 25 minutes to play. Replaced by Johan Wissa, and Anthony Alanga is coming on for captain Bruno. They've made 3 substitutions today, Newcastle. They still have Anthony Gordon on the bench. Kieran Trippier as well, along with Sean Neave and Alex Murphy, and Aaron Ramsdale and John Ruddy, 2 goalkeepers.
Bring Ruddy on the centre forward.
He's a big boy, if you get the height on a delivery. So Wissa will play up top. Voltemada just off him. Ilanga and Barnes in the wide positions. You've got Ramsey and Willock in the middle, and a back 4 now of Hall, Chow, Botman and Byrne from right to left. Obviously Pope in goal. Normally you start at the back from the keeper when you do the team, but there we've just worked back over from up front. Ball through the middle from Fulham straight to Nick Pope. Newcastle trailing 1-0 as they have been for quite some time in the match, actually. Fulham's goal was scored in the 20th minute. Sven Botman here, edge of the area. Forward pass, Willock has managed to stab it towards Barnes. And Joe Willock continues a forward run as Barnes approaches the penalty area. He's found Willock, and it's at the edge of the area. Willock and Baltimore got in each other's way. Goal kick.
It actually just hit Willock. He's expecting Willock to keep running down the outside. He's trying to play the ball in around the corner. Willock's cut back inside and just clipped his ankles. Fell nicely for him on the edge of the penalty area, and he's just tried to whip one, hasn't he? Didn't get it right.
Baltimore was about to take it on, but Willock got the shot away, and it went wide, attracted, as you say, whip it, curl it into the far corner. A couple of balls won by each team, then Fulham get it back and play it out to the right wing. Byrne intercepts from Bob.
Bob's touch.
Yeah. Dan Burns got it back. Newcastle through Joe Willock. A bit more energy and purpose here. Willock, options are to the right. He's played it. It's hit Baltimore on the back. Oh. Now in the middle of midfield, Baltimore and Ramsey. Back to halfway. Chow and now Botman. More Fulham substitutions coming. We've got a phone in after the game. 0800 234 6565 is the number. Barnes. It's run it out of play. He was next to the line. He tried to knock it up the line and it went out.
Yeah. No complaints.
Bassi pulled back by Wissa. Referees let it go. Bassi's continued his run. Might bring it back and boot Wissa. It's one of the most blatant shirt pulls you'll see. Iwobi cutting in from the left. Not the best shot at the end of that. Big, strong carry up the pitch from Bassi. Wissa almost had the shirt off his back, then he pulled his shorts off as well. Baltimore fouled there by Muniz.
Wissa's getting yellow carded.
West Ham have scored. West Ham 1, Leeds 0. Tati Castellanos, who got that brilliant goal at St James's last week.
Yeah.
So, if Everton need 2, but West Ham have given themselves a bit of hope. The goal difference, Spurs are 12 better off than West Ham, so it draws no good. So Everton would have to equalise and score again and beat Spurs for West Ham if they win to avoid relegation. Drinks break time. 20 minutes to play. BBC Radio Newcastle.
It's been a long half, hasn't it?
It's been a long half.
Second half.
It's been a long season. And a very long second half. Still 2-1 to Sunderland against Chelsea. Wesley Fofana sent off for Chelsea, 2 bookable offences. And the Red and Whites heading for the Europa League as it stands. Brentford take the lead against Liverpool, though. Sunderland would drop down to Conference League. But to miss out on Europe entirely, they're basically, it's with Chelsea to get themselves another goal with 10 men and come back. Following the drinks break, Newcastle are back on. Referee having a swig of water as well. Raul Jimenez, Harry Wilson, 2 players coming on for Fulham. Going to see Josh King as well, the young midfielder. Raul Jimenez, 10 goals this season in all competitions. Harry Wilson, their top scorer, with 11. And it might it'll be Wilson's final Fulham appearance. And Josh King is going to be part of England's pre-World Cup squad for 2 friendlies against New Zealand and Costa Rica, as announced by Thomas Tuchel the other day. The 19-year-old who's broken through and impressed this season at Fulham. And the players who've gone off are Oscar Bobb, Emil Smith-Rowe and Rodrigo Muniz. Long high ball forwards up the right by Newcastle. Only Elanga would have a chance of getting there, but it was too much even for him, and it's gone behind.
Pleased it's a nice day.
Yeah, but it's just uncomfortable. It's sort of afternoon that once you're out in it for 5 minutes, you feel like you need a shower.
Yeah.
Long goal kick from Fulham. Botman, big header. Newcastle chase it out to this near touchline. Diop lifts it forwards. Botman sees it back to Pope with Jimenez on his shoulder. No other goals anywhere else since our last update. If you want to send us a message about the match, about Newcastle's season, we are on WhatsApp. Put BBC at the start, and the number you need is 08000 321 333. 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp. You must start it with BBC. Hall has lost the ball in the middle of the park. Fulham up the left wing. Kearney at the edge of the area. Took a touch and fizzed it towards the bottom corner, and it's just wide.
Good hit, wasn't it? Hall loses it in midfield. They break down that right side. Pull back into Kearney. He's got a good left foot. He's got a sweet left foot. Hits that so well.
Ramsey to Botman, still in their penalty area, now up the near side. Newcastle with Dan Burn. Ilanga's come into the middle to get it, takes it and turns. Pulled down by King, clear foul, free kick. Elanga takes a quick one to Barnes and gets it back. Elanga looks for Barnes again, it's intercepted. On a flick from Kearney, who's enjoyed himself in the last couple of minutes. Left wing, Iwobi. Ramsey puts the cross back out wide. Fulham keep it in rather than let it go for a throw. 20 yards out now, Iwobi. And Berger has taken it away from Ramsey. Kearney is out there, finds Iwobi just in the area. Good bit of skill. Then his shot is charged down, and Newcastle have it. And Jimenez with a foul on Chow. Gordon warming up. And he's coming back to the bench.
Sean Neve, is it?
That's Anthony Gordon, I think.
No, it's Sean Neve.
Is it? We're going to have to get binoculars for next season, I think.
Sean Neve.
It is Neve, you're right. It's going to be a Premier League debut for Neve. See if there's any other Newcastle United substitutions in this moment, but doesn't look like it. Here's Byrne up the left wing, wanted Barnes to run, he's frustrated, he played the pass. Fulham with a couple of passes now of their own, and then a clearance which has stayed in somehow, and King muscled off the ball shoulder to shoulder with Ramsey, who brings it up to halfway. He's been Newcastle's best player today, I think, Jacob Ramsey. Probably should have gone for goal a couple of times in the first half. He's won a block challenge there in midfield after his pass was cleared. Baltamada to Barnes, opportunity to get an equaliser here. Barnes cuts in, Barnes shots blocked, and it spins up and goes out.
Corner kick.
Elanga comes across to take it on the left hand side. Fulham still lead 1-0. No more goals in any of the other games since our last update. can keep track on the BBC Sport website and app while you're listening to our commentary at Craven Cottage. Ilanga's corner to the back post. Keeper's missed it, and so has Wissa, who got up. Leno came off his line.
Into no man's land.
Wissa climbed.
Floated back post. Wissa just couldn't sort his feet, could he?
Yeah, couldn't get up high enough. Nick Voltemade, maybe if he'd been back post, he wouldn't have needed to climb too much. He is leaving the pitch, and a second Newcastle United appearance and a first in the Premier League for Sean Neve, the young Geordie striker.
Big day for him.
Who will turn 19 next week. He is onto the pitch, and Anthony Gordon remains on the bench. And Newcastle United are 12th in the Premier League, and Sunderland are 7th, heading for the Europa League. Spurs are staying up. They're winning, so are West Ham, but Spurs are 2 points ahead. Looks like Neve might be the most advanced player, with Wissa a bit deeper.
Wissa's gone in. He's gone really deep, Wissa.
They've got it on the right touchline, on halfway. Hall immediately under pressure from Iwobi, plays it back to Botman. Willock now. Newcastle have 98 goals in all competitions. They would need 2, obviously, to get to 100. 2 goals would possibly turn this around. They would need 2 goals to turn it around. Ilanga thought he was pulled down. Referee said no and told him to get up. Newcastle complain on the touchline as Fulham attack. Wilson on the outside of Willock wins a corner.
Good defending. Well tracked, Joe Willock.
Corner on the right. Alex Murphy is warming up. That is Alex Murphy, isn't it? Over there in the yellow bib.
Yeah.
Rather than Kieran Trippier or Anthony Gordon. To make one more change. Here's a short Fulham corner, playing in Iwobi, behind off Hall. Approaching the final 10 minutes, and Newcastle still 1-0 down.
Yeah, poor ball by Iwobi. He's got in behind.
Here is another short corner. Wilson and Iwobi and Kearney. It's on for Kearney. He's got space to line up. A shot which he does! And Tom Kearney bends one into the far corner. Newcastle United season looks like it's going to end in defeat. They'll be glad when the final whistle comes and this campaign is over. Mid-table, and now on the final day with 10 minutes to play, they trailed Fulham by 2 goals to 0.
Quality strike. But the amount of time that he had, nobody got out to him. They play the corner short, roll it inside the Kearney, he gets it out of his feet, he has another touch, still doesn't get closed down, and he just whips it into that top right hand corner. Great goal. You've got to get out to him an awful lot quicker. Touch, nobody comes to him, bang.
Well, they could have ended their season in 9th today, as high as 9th, with a win, but they look like they're going to be bottom half, and that second Fulham goal cements that. Kearney had a couple of tries and been close, made an impact since coming on. Now he's got it again, and Wilson wants to be played in behind, but he's offside. Kearney delayed the pass. Newcastle block it. Kearney gets it back, passes it to Castagna. Fulham look like they've got, I mean, I don't know how the measurement, but significantly more energy than Newcastle today. Fourth official's numbers board is there. Might be another Newcastle United change. Here's Alex Murphy. So there will be no final appearance for Kieran Trippier, and Anthony Gordon's not going to get on.
Told you.
Gordon's last appearance was on the 12th of April at Crystal Palace, more than a month ago. Now Fulham playing it across their defence, and a back pass. Neve closing down Leno, putting him under decent pressure. Kearney here with Wissa. Wissa made a challenge on Kearney, and the ball ended up with the goalkeeper. Newcastle very nearly pinching it through the efforts of Neve firstly, and then Wissa. Now Berger, strong challenge in midfield from Willock. Fulham get it back, and here's King. It's a good atmosphere at Craven Cottage. King almost made it even better, and then Wilson with a shot just wide on the follow-up after King's effort was pushed away by Pope.
Well, could have been a lot worse, couldn't it? Just want this final whistle. We want this season finished.
Sunderland still 2-1 up against Chelsea and still heading for Europe. West Ham are 2-0 up against Leeds, but with Spurs winning, West Ham are going down. And Dan Burn is coming off. He's giving the captain's armband to Nick Pope, and on comes Alex Murphy. Yes, the second West Ham goal that I just mentioned from Jared Bowen. Dan Burn spent an earlier part of his career at Fulham and is applauded off by the home supporters. He'll be off to a World Cup soon, which I'm sure when he was playing for Fulham he would never have thought. And he leaves the pitch. Alex Murphy on for what is an 8th Newcastle United appearance in total. On into a defence that is probably thinking about making sure 2-0 doesn't become 3-0, rather than a team that is pushing up the other end, trying to get one back. Here's Elanga, finds Wissa, who turns well, then goes on the outside of Berger and wins a free kick following Sander Berger's challenge. Murphy's first appearance since he started against Karabag 3 months ago, and only a second Premier League appearance this season. The other was late at Liverpool at the end of January. Willock to Barnes on the halfway line, back to Murphy, who's at left back, which is where he says he prefers to play. Malik Chow to Anthony Elanga on the right touchline. Plays it ahead of Hall. Some frustration in the away end there, arms being flung about as Elanga's pass is overhit. Fulham across midfield, who will be deserving of their win today. Murphy makes a challenge on Wilson to stop him going forwards, and it's out for a throw next to the halfway line. Another Fulham substitution. Issa Diop, who scored the opening goal, is going off, and the Spanish defender Jorge Cuenca is coming on. In the 86th minute. 0800 234 6565 is our phone number. Call us now. We're with you on BBC Radio Newcastle and after the match on BBC Sounds until 7. Castagna's throw. Back to Cuenca. And Bassi lets it run across his body. Across the middle of the Fulham half. Elanga's won it back. Ramsey just ahead of Neve. Cleared, and Botman wins a header on halfway, climbing above Jimenez. Barnes to Alex Murphy, inside to Willock. his right wrist and hand strapped up. Ramsey just behind halfway. And Sven Botman now onto Joe Willock. He's got a couple of players on him. Tries to escape their attentions. Didn't really go anywhere. Went backwards with the pass to Botman. Now Chow onto the feet of Hall. Elanga makes the run beyond. Hall finds Elanga. Running at Bassi. Elanga with the cross. And Cuenca at full stretch. Good test of his groin and hamstring there to get down and stop that ball reaching Neve in the middle.
Yeah, he's done well, Elanga. He's just knocked it. When you got that pace, that's all you've got to do, and he's whipped the good ball in. Decent defending.
An out-swinging corner from the right-hand side from Anthony Elanga into the middle. It's a Fulham header. Lewis Hall following up, drives it towards goal. It took a touch, did it? No, goal kick despite the Newcastle appeals, led by Lewis Hall. Joe Willock's in the ear of the referee, but goal kick is the decision. 2 minutes of normal time to play. It took a massive deflection. It looked like it took a massive deflection, although whether it was off Castagna or a Newcastle player wasn't clear from the replay we saw.
I hope he's not cruel and adds on loads of time.
Before last season, and they lost here, Newcastle had won 5 in a row at Craven Cottage, but they've struggled today. Here's Wissa for Elanga. It was nicely worked. Elanga's been taken down by Robinson, who gets a yellow card. And looked like it hurt him. That challenge from Robinson. Elanga.
It's all right.
He's picked himself up.
Just took his ankle away, didn't he?
Lewis Hall. It's in line with the penalty area, the edge of the box, but it's out wide right, probably between the touchline and the box, maybe closer to the side of the pitch than the penalty area. Everybody's back for Fulham. Botman, Alex Murphy, Neve, Barnes, Chow, Wissa. Newcastle's presence in the middle of the penalty area. Lewis Hall left-footed. In it comes. Barnes missed the target. Didn't get a clean contact with his head.
Wasn't easy though, was it? He's beyond the near post. He's got a flick and he's got too much on it. Look at how far beyond this near post he is. It's a real difficult one.
15 seconds of the 90 minutes remaining. There was never a chance of European football, but there was the possibility of 9th place. Newcastle in 12th as it stands.
8 minutes.
8 minutes added time. Edge of the area for Fulham. King, Iwobi, Kearney involved, left side. Now Berger in the box. Berger goes for the line, tries to pull it back. Newcastle block it, and there's Ramsey away. Kearney beats Elanga to the ball. And Hall has tried to turn after winning it back. He's gone down under a challenge, but referees allowed play to go on. Hall is still down. Looks like it might be cramp. He's out of the game. Fulham play it up that far touchline, and a high and heavy cross that sails out on the near side. Fulham 2, Newcastle 0. As it stands, Spurs are staying up, and West Ham are going down. Sunderland are going into the Europa League. Crystal Palace have pulled one back. Palace 1, Arsenal 2 through Mateta. Brentford are missing out on Europe on goal difference. They are drawing with Liverpool Brighton are being walloped by Man United. But Brentford would need to win to get into 8th. Elanga, middle of his own half. That's a decent ball looking for Neve, who's tried to take a touch. Bassi, much bigger frame of Bassi, was ahead of him, and the defender does his job, gets it back to his goalkeeper, then has the ball again. And there's a long pass up the pitch. Botman with a header. Hall chests it. He played 2 of the minimum 8 minutes. Hall tried to play it through the middle of midfield, and it's straight at Kearney with Wilson to the right. Wants it on his left. He's got it on his left, Wilson. It's blocked by Alex Murphy. At the edge of the area. And now here's King with a cross towards the near post, and at the back stick, Fulham with Iwobi missed the target. King's kept it in. Newcastle win it back. Offside is the decision eventually. Alex Murphy back to Sven Botman, and here's Joe Willock. Elanga climbs, it's a good leap. Neves tried to hold it up, got a touch, but was then dispossessed by Bassi. Now Kearney into Jimenez, 30 yards out, central position. He's run into 3 Newcastle players, but Fulham have got the second ball.
He didn't know what he was doing with it, did he?
Robinson to King, and Iwobi's got away from a tired looking Chow and Hall, and Iwobi's gone for the far corner and has missed the target.
Do us a favour, referee.
Still got 4.5 minutes. Oh, 0800 234 6565 is BBC Radio Newcastle's number. Call us now. They play it out from the back, but Cuenca wins it for Fulham. Hall then intercepts at the edge of the area and clears, but straight back to a white shirt. It's been... It has been a frustratingly poor and disappointing afternoon, even though there was nothing meaningful to play for. Maybe the first goal was always going to be crucial. Fulham got it, and they got a second.
That doesn't make any difference for the performance, Razor.
No, but just in terms of finishing with a result. But yeah, Fulham have played well, Newcastle haven't. Here's Wissa, a run through the middle. He's done really well, Wissa. He's made good progress. And Elanga with Robinson. Elanga back to Wissa, takes a touch. Can he get a shot off? No. Has he won a corner? No. Drove through the middle pretty well, Johan Wissa. Came back to him. And yeah, Berger stepped across him. Wissa's touch went behind. Fulham 2, Newcastle United 0. Still, as you were elsewhere, Sunderland in Europe as it stands. They're deep in added on time at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland winning, that might be enough for them. Never mind what happens elsewhere. Chelsea have 10 men in that game. Botman could have given away a free kick. Jimenez has emerged with the ball, and the shot's gone a long way wide. Just over 2 minutes of Newcastle's season remaining. The new campaign gets underway in August. Who knows how the team will look? They will be dreaming and believing that it will be better, that it will be like the 2 campaigns that saw them qualify for Europe when they weren't playing European football. Here's Barnes, links up well with Willock. Barnes into the box now for Murphy. Is there an end product? Murphy. The Premier League campaigns have been better when they haven't had European football. Maybe that will be the case next season, but it's a huge summer. We've played 96 minutes and 42 seconds. 8 minutes on the board. Fulham winning 2-0. Newcastle throw on the left wing, which they take. Barnes, Willock and Murphy involved. Back to Ramsey. And Chow on the halfway line. No further updates, no news of anything elsewhere. Sunderland may well be in Europe. West Ham have won 3-0 against Leeds. Here are Newcastle with Neve in the box. Tried to release a shot. Strong sliding challenge from Cuenca to turn the ball away and out for throw. There's 9 minutes added on at Spurs, who lead Everton 1-0. Everton would have to score twice to keep West Ham up and send Spurs down. Newcastle back to Pope following the throw on the right wing. And Botman, 30 seconds remaining. This is Willock, turns away from Cuenca, it's a yellow card. Last piece of play in the game, surely. We're at the 8 minutes. Referee blows for full time rather than restarting the match. Newcastle United with a disappointing end to a disappointing Premier League season. They are finishing in mid-table. They have not had any consistency in terms of progress, consecutive wins for any meaningful spell across the campaign. They missed out on Europe, which was always a slim chance anyway as the campaign drew to a close. And they've been beaten 2-0 by Fulham in West London on the final day. And it looks like they will finish in 12th position. We'll confirm that for you shortly, as their rival Sunderland look like they're going to seal a European place just to make matters worse. A season that probably won't be missed despite a cup semi-final and a Champions League run. Next year will be about getting back into Europe and trying to make progress in the domestic cups, and maybe not having European football every Tuesday or Wednesday will make them better served, better placed to do that, like they did last year, like they did a few seasons ago.
But that's like saying we don't want to qualify for Europe.
You can't just go 1 year on, 1 year off, can you? They've got to break that cycle.
Yeah.
But as this season finishes with a defeat and disappointment, you have to hope that no Europe next year is not a negative thing for Newcastle. But this season, John Anderson, won't be missed.
No, definitely not. Not from a league point of view. Look, I've said it quite a few times, you know, that the run to the semi-final League Cup, the Champions League, last 16, papered over the cracks of our league performances. And our league performances throughout the season just haven't been good enough. And I know this is a cruel thing to say, but I suppose today that performance was probably fitting to end the season, because of the way that we performed in the league for the majority of the season. Our performances have been like that for most of the season. We've been well beaten. It's 2-0. Could have been more. Could have been more. Just pleased that this season is over. You know, you want to write it off. You want to get it out of the way. And as you say, there'll be no complaints whatsoever. You cannot complain about anything next season because you've got no European football. You're not going to have those games. You've just got the domestic competitions and the league. So, look at disappointing performance this afternoon. Would have liked to have finished on a high. And yet again, we haven't been able to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah. Last Premier League clean sheet was 2 months ago at Chelsea, and it's one clean sheet in 24 in all competitions, one in 16 in the Premier League. Behind to a goal that was headed in by Diop after Kevin's free kick came back down off the bar on 20 minutes. Fulham's second goal, which they deserved, was scored by Tom Kearney in the 80th minute, and it was a great strike across Nick Pope and into the far corner, not quite the top corner but not too far away from it. Newcastle did have opportunities. Willock shot saved in the first half, might well have been their best moment, their best opening. They got into areas at other times, but couldn't make the most of them. Just a flat way for a tough season to finish. There's Anthony Gordon, still wearing his yellow training bib. He gives Kieran Trippier a hug, and both of them turn and applaud the away fans on their way off. Neither got on for what we know would have been Trippier's final appearance. Gordon, we presume that's it. You didn't think Eddie Howe would put him on, Ando, today? No. Sentiment may not be the right word, but just the opportunity to get on. I mean, the manager said he's looking to the future. We know that Gordon is expected to leave. The fact he's going to the World Cup is not really Newcastle's issue, is it? He's using other players, many of whom he expects to be managing next season. So Gordon, again, an unused sub. Yeah,
you know, we spoke before the game. I said I didn't expect him to come on. I think if he was going to get game time, he would have got it last week at St James's. He didn't get that. I didn't expect him to see game time today. He's brought young Neve on ahead of him. He's brought young Murphy on ahead of him. Brought Wiss on ahead of him. You know, so it just tells you that the writing is on the wall that Anthony Gordon won't be wearing black and white next season.
0800 234 6565 is the number to ring us on. BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds until 7 tonight. Colin White is at the Stadium of Light, and he'll be with Danny Collins, the ex-Sunderland defender, and John Anderson, the former Newcastle defender, to discuss the games. It has finished. Sunderland have beaten Chelsea 2-1, and it means Sunderland have ensured there will be European football for the first time on Wearside since 1973-74 in the Cup Winners' Cup. So a season after promotion for Sunderland. Not only have they finished above Newcastle, they have qualified for Europe. 7th, just as we wait for all the scores to be confirmed, but I think 7th is confirmed, so they'll be in the Europa League rather than the Conference League. And Brighton got the Conference League place. Bournemouth also in the Europa League. Liverpool in 5th, Champions League. Villa in 4th. Man U 3rd, Man City 2nd. Arsenal 7 points clear in the end. Colin White will go through all of the scores. They're still playing Spurs against Everton, but Spurs leading 1-0 are almost certainly going to stay up at West Ham's expense, despite West Ham beating Leeds 3-0. Newcastle in 12th, 49 points. In the first season of the takeover, they finished with 49 points, but they were in 11th. This is Newcastle's lowest finish since 2020-2021, when they also finished their season here against Fulham, but that was virtually every game was behind closed doors. They were 12th that year under Steve Bruce as well. So it's their lowest finish for 5 years, and it's ended a disappointing season with a flat performance and a bad result. Fulham 2, Newcastle United 0.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.